everything you've been calling creating something new in your life was actually just copy pasting? New document, new name, but same content. Because here's what I've noticed after nearly 20 years of working with people on changing their lives. Most of us don't actually create. We recreate. We look backwards, grab what we know, and call it a fresh start. Today, we are taking the re out of recreate. And I'm going to show you what that distinction actually means, why it matters more than you think, and most importantly, 5 ways to start doing it differently. Hi, I'm Donnielle Carter, nationally board certified health and wellness coach, and here we go. One of the things that comes up again and again in almost every conversation, every session, every class is this pattern of people who are genuinely trying to change something, genuinely wanting something different in their lives. And they end up with a slightly updated version of what they already had. Same relationship dynamic, but different person. Same financial pattern, but a different job. Same feeling, and it's a different decade. Here's where I get to be a little wordy nerdy on you. And if you've been around my work for any time at all, you know it's one of my favorite topics, the energy of words themselves. The prefix re, R-E, means to do again, to go back, to return to a previous state. So when we recreate, we are literally creating again what was already created. We're building from an existing template. We're looking at what was and using it as the blueprint for what will be. Now, that's not always a problem. Some things deserve to be recreated. A good recipe, a strong friendship, a solid morning routine. But here's where it gets interesting. When we apply that same re-energy to our lives, to our health, our relationships, our finances, our sense of possibility itself, we're essentially using the past as the only available reference point for the future. And that has some real implications. Think about it this way. Imagine you're using a map to navigate somewhere you've never been, except the map you're using is a place you already know. You're looking at it, following it, trusting it, but it doesn't actually go where you want to go. It just goes where you've already been. That's recreating. That's the re-problem. Creating, true creation, requires something the map cannot give you. It requires moving forward without complete certainty of what's ahead. It requires using your awareness, your body, your curiosity, not just your history. And for a long time, we all thought it was a mindset problem, or a habit problem, or a belief problem. And while those things are real, there's something even more foundational happening, something in the use of the word itself. Here are 5 tips to shift from recreate into create. Tip number 5, notice when you're using the past as a blueprint. The first thing, and genuinely the most useful, is just learning to notice when you're doing it. Because it's sneaky. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up as being realistic, as I'm learning from experience. It shows up as what feels like wisdom. And sometimes it is wisdom, but sometimes it's just a habit pretending to be wisdom. And here's how you tell the difference. When you're making a decision about a relationship, a business move, a health choice, anything really, ask yourself, am I drawing on this past experience as information, or am I treating it as the only possible outcome? Okay, here's what that looks like. Information says, last time I did this and X happened. And you know what? That's useful to know. Recreate says, last time I did this, X happened, so X is what will happen. Therefore, I either repeat it or avoid it entirely. One uses the past, the other is trapped by it. Same experience, completely different relationship to it. The awareness alone, just noticing which mode you're in, starts to create space. And space is where true creation begins. Tip number 4, change your relationship with the unknown. You need to get comfortable with not having a reference point. Here's the uncomfortable truth about actual creation. It requires not knowing what it's going to look like yet, which for a lot of us, myself included, is freaking and deeply uncomfortable. We like to know, we like to plan, we like a map. We like, at minimum, someone who's been there before to tell us what the outcome is going to be. And when we don't have that, we go find the closest thing we do know and use that instead, which again is recreating. It's not wrong, it's just being human. Our nervous systems genuinely prefer the familiar, even when the familiar isn't working. The practice here is learning to tolerate not knowing long enough for something genuinely new to show up. And I mean that literally. There is a physiological component to this. Your body, your nervous system reads uncertainty as threat. Your job is to gently, repeatedly show your body that uncertainty isn't a danger. It's just a possibility that hasn't landed yet. One way to do this is to ask, what would it feel like if this turned out better than anything I've ever seen before? Not what would it look like? Because look like your brain will start immediately trying to figure a reference point for it. But what would it feel like? That's a question your body can answer without needing a historical template. Your body is an energetic being that can perceive what the energy of an outcome would feel like, and it feeds that information to you. With this question, you get an energetic knowing of what your life would be like with that new creation in your universe. Tip number 3, watch your language. It's doing more than you think. All right, energy of words and language time again. Have you ever noticed how many words we use around growth and change that are re-words? Rebuild, recover, return, restart, revisit, reclaim, restore, and renew. Now, those are not bad words. Some of them are very beautiful. But I want you to notice something about them all. They all point backwards. They all assume that what you're going towards already exists somewhere in your past, and your job is to get back to it. Which means even the language of moving forward is often secretly pointed at what was. Here's the practice. When you find yourself using a re-word about something you want to create, pause and ask, is this something I'm returning to? Or am I creating something that doesn't have a name yet? Because sometimes the thing you're building genuinely doesn't have a precedence before in your life. And using re-language for it is like trying to describe a color that doesn't even exist using only the colors that you already know. It doesn't work. So try words instead like build, discover, open, generate, move forward, expand into. Notice how differently your body responds to those words. That's not accidental. Words carry energy. And the energy of re is the energy of looking back. Tip number 2, create from desire, not from avoidance. This one is quiet, but it hits hard. Know whether you're moving toward or moving away from the change. A lot of what we call creating something new in our lives is moving away from something we don't want, which again is using the past as the compass. Even when we're running in the opposite direction, we're still oriented toward what we're leaving. Let me give you an example. Someone decides they're done with their draining job. Just doesn't work for them. They want to create something different, a new job. So they start thinking about what they want. And yet 80% of their description is what it won't be. It won't be stressful. It won't be micromanaged. It won't feel like Sunday night dread. That, my friends, is not a vision. That's a reaction. And look at that. It's another re word, right? It's a reaction. And you can't navigate toward a reaction. You can only navigate away from what caused it. The practice and shift is this. Instead of asking, what don't I want anymore? Ask, what do I truly desire to experience? Not the opposite of what was, but the actual thing that you desire. Even if you've never had it, especially if you've never had it. What does it feel like to work in a way that energizes you? What does it feel like to have more than enough? What does it feel like to be genuinely at ease in your body? Those, my friends, are creation questions, and they point forward instead of back. Tip number 1, let your body participate in what's being created. This is the one I want to leave you with the most because it's the one most people skip. And honestly, it's the one that makes all the others work. Your body holds your history. Every pattern, every conditioned response, every time you learned this is how it goes, your body was in the room. And your body has been faithfully running that program ever since. Not because it's broken, it's because that's what bodies do. They're incredibly loyal record keepers. But here's what that means for creation. If you use only your mind to think your way into something new, and your body hasn't been included in the update, your body will keep pulling you back towards what it knows every time. This isn't a discipline problem. This isn't a motivation problem. This is a coherence problem. Your thinking is pointed in one direction and your body is pointed in another. And almost always, the body will win that argument eventually. So the practice is to bring your body along. Not after you've figured everything out, before. So you ask yourself, what does forward feel like right now in my body? Not what does it look like? Bodies feel. What does it feel like right now? What will it feel like in the future? Even a small sense of it, even just a little bit of openness, a slight ease in your chest, a sense of something shifting. That's your body starting to participate in creation instead of recreation. That's the molecules starting to move. And remember, when your body feels it, you and your body connect to the universe and start to call those particles of that new creation into existence. All right, let's bring this back to the re of the story. Create and recreate. They're not moral categories, and each have their place. So this isn't about doing it right or wrong. It's just about awareness. It's about noticing, am I building from what was, or am I stepping into something that doesn't have a template yet? Because you, my friend, are capable of both. Your brain and your nervous system are wired for pattern matching, and that's survival, that's good. But you're also genuinely capable of something new and glorious, something that hasn't existed before, something phenomenal, something that your history doesn't have a file for. This is not magical thinking. This is how creation works. It starts from somewhere that's not yet mapped. You, my friend, are exploring a new territory of your life. It's time to create something new. And if you know someone who's been running on the same pattern on repeat in their relationships, their work, their health, please share this video with them. Because sometimes the most useful thing you can do for someone is to hand them a different lens. Thank you so much for exploring with me today. If you want more videos like this, please subscribe, like, and share. And check out this video right here for more mindset shifting tips and tricks. And until we play again, keep creating a life that inspires you every day to live it. I'll see you soon.